Hello and welcome back. On the last episode we started the second half of this game, starting volume 10 with someone who kind of reminds us of ourselves, which is not a good thing considering they were kind of needy and, you know, kind of desperate. The difference is that when other friends were mentioned to them, they got upset, whereas we usually are more surprised and like enthusiastic about it, like, yay, more friends to possibly make. So I think we're kind of better than they are, personally. Other than that, though, you know, we've only got the second half of volume 10 to do. I believe, based on what I remember, it's another Teal Blood. Volume 10 of Faraway Lands and Nearby Pals. You've luckily enough to acquire a bounty of friendships since you arrived on this planet. But there's still an emptiness nestled right into the crook of your heart's artery. Maybe making one more friend will fix it. Maybe this next one will expand inside your chest like the sponge in a bath, pushing out all your sadness and loneliness and insecurities. After all, number 20 is the charm. Okay, yeah. He's got the big anime sprite. In an utterly surprising turn of events, the night finds you trolling around in search of, well, trolls. The friendly type, preferably, although you've known to work wonders with hostile folks too. You're currently hunting grounds appear to be a primarily teal neighbourhood, which suits you fine. Teals live relatively comfortably and are usually only mildly disdainful of you. This strikes you as a good place to search for companionship. You've got another pressing concern, though. A faint glow far on the horizon, which suggests the sun will be rising soon, a couple of hours from now at most. Nights on Alternia seem to last forever, but when the daylight hits, it hits hard, like a truck. But the truck is on fire, and the fire is nuclear fusion, and the truck is a star. Point is, you're not in the mood for another sunburn. You'd never snag a buddy before it's too late. You, the strange, hornless thing. Speak of the devil. You whip around and spot a troll boy with a stylish hat and a sword sheathed behind his back. His clothes are a little shabby, but he carries himself with a rigid, composed air. What are you, some kind of mutant troll? Or another sentient creature? Definitely the latter, you say. Unless he would prefer the former, in which case you're that, actually. But mutants, you've learned, are not particularly well-liked on this planet. An alien, I won't have to call you, then. Not immediately, at least. You don't appear to be a colon-site species. Luckily for you, that I won't have to loose my blade. And luckily for me, I to have found a potential comrade. I know what you seek. Shelter and friendship? Not necessarily in that order. You're about to speak up, but he's already moving on. You seek the meeting place of Eastern Alternian Fine Animated Art Appreciation Society. We seek the Anime Club, I guess. Anime Accepting Club. Oh, as some less cultured souls would call it, the Anime Club. Yeah, damn. Guess I'm uncultured then. Oh, a club. Back home, teachers used to go on about how clubs were wonderful places to meet new friends. You didn't really believe it then, but maybe things are different here on Alternia. You confidently assert that, yes, you're here for the animes. Good. I feared I was wrong to have concealed tonight's meeting due to no-shows. Cancel. I feared that I was going to have to cancel tonight's meeting due to no-shows, but it can proceed as scheduled. Follow me. Gestures towards his hive and begins to stride confidently towards it, but then he rethinks it, pausing and looking back at you. Wait, subs or dubs? Okay. I mean, I watch dubs because I can't speak the language, but both are good because, you know, you watch what you prefer. So I'm gonna go with dubs because it's clearly wrong, because it's an opinion, instead of just saying, oh, you know, a perfect fellow connoisseur. Let's continue. Oh, okay. Cool. Tegiri invites you into his hive with a sweeping bow. You step into the foyer. The hive looked normal from the outside, normal by troll standards at least, but the inner decor has an entirely different vibe to it. It reminds you of Japanese architecture. Tegiri takes off his sandals before entering the next room. You take off your shoes too, if you had any. As you step into his living room, you are assaulted, not literally, thankfully, by an absolute smorgasbord of merchandise. This place looks like This place looks like someone did a Google search for otaku collection and opened the first result. Posters and scrolls adorn each inch of the wall available, and the inches of walls that aren't available are blocked by shelves containing the sorts of DVDs and mangas and other such forms of media. Or a large glass shelving until the near room's exit. You spy a veritable cornucopia of anime figurines, most of whom seem to be varying statues of undress. You would like to describe it as tasteful nudity, but you would also like to describe yourself as the most popular person on Eternia, and both would be a lie. Tegiri has arranged his merchandise meticulously according to blood colour, from red at the bottom to fuchsia at the top. I see you're admiring my fine East Eternian collectibles. I polish them daily, just as I polish my blade. Don't touch them, or you'll taste folded steel. You slowly react your hand. You wouldn't dream of touching them. That was never or ever something you were planning on doing. You won't even breathe on them. In fact, you step away from the collectibles just in case. Okay. With that step, you bump into something behind you, and you hear a soft rough. As you spin around, it looks like what must be Tegiri's Lucis, surveying you with an intense gaze. It looks like a lot like a Shiba Inu. If they were twice the size of and had opposable everything. Honestly, watching it scuttle around like a monkey while sniffing you is pretty entrancing. Eventually, you seem to meet its standards because it darts around out of the room. You use some kind of rustling as you assume it's in the kitchen. That was Tadashi Inu, my Lucis. He taught me everything I know. I could not have asked for a better sensei. Yeah, dogs are great, you respond. And then immediately, you could take that back. Dogs are great. That's got to be the blandest possible statement you could have made. And possibly inaccurate too. What's the things called? Bog beasts? Fetch fiends? Wolf gremlin? Oh, Tegiri isn't even paying attention to you anymore. He's busy perusing his shelves, picking out some DVDs. Per my viewing schedule, we'll watch a carefully curated selection of episodes of one classic and one from recent release. But since you're a newcomer, it might be best not to jump into the middle of the Last Boat series. In the middle of Last Bout series, Philosopher and Half Iron. Is that like Dr. Stone? Is that what that is? Perhaps we shall instead begin with the first season of School-Fed Heroism. And transition to the episodes of Kismet Stuck Morning. Those two I don't know. The original airing, of course, not the censored one with the ridiculous CGI dragon. Looks like Tegiri intended you to take full control of this morning's activities, which you find entirely copacetic. The less you need to assert your own opinions and make your own choices, the less likely you're going to mess up. It's probably not a healthy way to live, but it's gotten you somewhere between 1 and 19 friends so far, and you're sticking to it. With deft and precise movements, Tegiri retrieves the disc from the container and pops it into the troll equivalent of a DVD player. It makes a slimy, chugging noise, and it sucks the disc into it. And like usual, you aren't sure if it's an inanimate object or living being. Either way, you're a little disgusted. The DVD player hums and Tegiri's TV lights up with a colourful dial screen. You're ready to get settled in with a journey through the wonderful world of the animes. But he frowned and pauses the episode less than a minute in. Hang on, this isn't a correct copy. The localization on these lines was changed after the original translator was called by a Purple Blood for crimes against buffoonery. I specifically ordered the first edition and paid extra for it. This is unacceptable. Tegiri stops the DVD player, it ejects the disc, and places it back in its case. Come, there's still time in the night. We need to give resolve to this immediately. The shop is imported. The shop that imported it to me is nearby. He heads for the door and beckons you to follow, which you do. Guess it would be too much to hope for a quiet morning inside, wouldn't it? At least you get at least you get to go shopping for animes, which sounds fun enough. Will it be one of those fancy automated stores, you wonder? No. Unlike most stores in Alternia, this specific shop is run by a living troll. A fellow collector who would not entrust such a work to automation. So one would expect, with an actual think pan involved, there would be no careless mistakes like this. At least I'm on good terms with the owner, so I doubt there'll be any trouble. You, on the other hand, expect it plainly. Pretty much everything on this goddamn planet has been trouble so far. Does he know how awful it is here? You don't want to be you don't want to humansplain it to him or anything, but things are pretty awful here. Oh, you guess he knows. He's staring at one of those many billboards that lines the street, which just seems to be it's been defaced with the bright red graffiti. It says that some pretty nasty stuff about Trissa. Rebel sentiments grow by the moment. Alternia lies on the very verge of peril, a blade's edge. And not any blade, the blade of a razor-sharp folded steel katana, forged under the East Alternian moonlight. Heated by the bellows breath of a magnificent draconian Lucis. Cooled by the shimmering cascade of acid waterfall. And fit to be handled by only a true expert. Do you dance? You're a little caught off guard by that question. Dancing? As in moving one's body to music? In a way, yes. Moving the sweet music of steel on steel, the rhythm of combat. There's stiletto steps that weave death and glory into one beautiful motion. Do you dance? Oh, sword fighting. Of course. You really should have figured that out. This guy's dial has only 2 settings, talking about swords and talking about anime. Something he gets practically frisky and talks. Sometimes he gets practically frisky and talks about both at once. You tell him that you don't know how to handle swords, but they seem really cool. You'd love to learn. Cool? Huh. Sword play is more than cool. It's a way of life, a code of honor. To pick up the blade is to bind yourself to the tenets of Bushido, and to be prepared at all times to enforce justice the only way a swordsman knows, through steel. Someday the pursuits of justice will bring me face to face with these rebel scum. I must be ready to show them a true, magnificent terror of the blade. Who knows? Maybe I would even be awarded a clown aggressional Medal of Honor. a troll can dare to dream. So that's why he practices swordplay, huh? To enforce justice, just like a vigilante. Vigilante, please. I would only have a colour troll who legally deserved death. What kind of lawless moron do you take him for? You don't take him for a moron at all. In fact, he's very smart and clever and just. You hope that you're not laying it on too thick, but he seems to enjoy the praise. Wait here. This won't take too long. He's taking you to the night market that reminds you of a place where you met Polyper. A strip mall lies to the left of many tents and stalls, and a sign above the door reads, Super Torpedo Imports. Mega Man, Overwatch, nothing else that I noticed, really. Yeah. As you enter, Tegiri makes a beeline for the counter, which is manned by a greasy-looking ghoulblood with pinkish-looking eyes. You, on the other hand, are more interested in the rest of the store. It looks like a lot like Tegiri's living room, but bigger. Anime figurines for sale for what looks like a preposterous amount of money. DVDs and comics lining the shelves. Arcade games in the corner. There's even a section of replica swords, which all looks far too sharp and legitimately deadly for your liking. Shucking between the shelves is an olive blood guy. You can't quite tell if he's working here or if he's just browsing. You're not sure if any trolls even have normal jobs. You're about to ask if the olive blood. You're about to ask the olive blood guy about a particularly interesting DVD when you're distracted by the commotion over at the counter. You're pretty sure you've heard Tegiri snarling something about his rights as a consumer. Looks like trouble is brewing. You turn your head towards the counter and listen in. Do you really think you can get away with ripping me off like this? Do you know who I am? My bloodcast? A teal blood like me has connections, a vast network of like-minded souls at the back of my beck and call, really to be unsheathed against my hapless foes. The legal force I can bring to bear against you is greater than your puerile mind could ever imagine. A fleet of legislators will descend on you like shadow clowns, each armed with the great weapons of them all, knowledge. And with our intrinsic understanding of the Alternian legal code, you will be mired in suits of so myriad and mind-numbing, you will wish the swift and early death my blade can provide. Or, you can offer me an exchange of equal or greater value to my original purchase. Which path will you choose to walk, scum? You wander closer to the counter, hoping that you might be able to help resolve the situation. But instead, you blunder right into the olive blood and send a box trembling out of his hands into the ground. A bunch of assorted products spill as the shopkeeper gasps dramatically. You don't see what the big deal is. Looks like some more DVDs and manga. One cover features a troll with arch-shaped horns and a bright pink sign. And the other features some red-blooded douchebag wearing pants way too tall for him. Tegiri picks up one of the mangas and waves it in front of the shopkeeper's face. Care to explain what I'm looking at here? Imperial Dictative number the second, section 3.2. The depiction of non-standard hemological attributes is strictly forbidden. Imperial Dictative number 7th, section 5. Material which encourages actions against the state is considered contraband to the highest degree. The olive blood, who can clearly see the situation careening downhill like a skull buggy out of without wheel stops, begins to creep towards the door. You'd love to do the same, but you can't give up on the potential new friendship. It's basically pathological. To think that my favourite Eastern Alternian hobby shop could stoop so low as to peddle this crime filth. What a sickening betrayal. The shopkeeper stammers, offering a litany of muddled explanations that only seem to incense Tegiri's further. He was holding it for a friend. No wait, that's satire. Tegiri slams a palm onto the counter and his eyes shoot open, revealing dark purple irises with a strange swell pattern. PO Addictive number 61st, Section 2, Satire is explicitly contraband. You think you can mess with me? I watched countless hours of legal drama, played and replayed legendary legislator and memorized every twist. I know the law back and forth. And now, it's time for punishment due. You're dead, kiddo. As Tegiri leans over the counter, his free hand grips the hilt of his katana and tenses, ready to draw. He's about to straight up execute this guy. Cool. We made a mistake already. Well, we didn't make a mistake, because apparently Dubs was correct. Unless it was, unless like Dubs and Subs are both correct, and not having an opinion is bad. He's got a sword, and that's, you know... You really don't want to get in between a shopkeeper and Tegiri's sword. For now, you know, this really does warrant an immediate execution. Who are you to judge? You do, however, squint a little so you don't have to see the full glory details of the culling. Turns out it's not really as glory as you expected. Tegiri leaps over the counter and swings wildly at the guy, but many of his attacks fail to connect. It's mostly a bunch of bombastic anime-style moves that don't translate well to actual combat. Still, some strikes hit home, drawing a spray of murky cool blood that jolts the shopkeeper out of his petrified fear. He screeches and unleashes a throbbing psionic blast from his eyes, causing Tegiri to stagger back, disoriented. The flash of light doesn't seem to have caused any real damage, but it offers a perfect opportunity to flee. By the time your eyes have adjusted, the only thing you can see is the back door swinging wildly in its wake. Unsurprisingly, the olive blood is nowhere to be seen as well. Tush. Tegiri glances over down at his katana, stained with the blood of the shopkeeper, and slowly sheathes it. His hands are shaking, claws tapping the hilt relentlessly. He turns slowly to you, forcing himself back into his usual stoic posture. You got lucky, that's all. But he can't hide forever. Let's go. We need to report this to the drone. To a drone. He strides out the shop, leaving you to follow it hurriedly behind. What a mess. You hesitantly ask him whether it is really necessary to try and kill that boy for what he did. Of course it was. The law is absolute. A foreigner like you might not understand. It's not my duty to question the righteousness of my actions, but a tool through which the law is enforced. I am the blade that her imperious condescension wields to maintain the order of the world of chaos, just like this throne. He gestures to one of the big, hulking drones that you've grown all too familiar with during your stay on Alternia. Right now, it looks like it's cleaning up some bronze-colored blood that is splattered on the side of the building. Tegiri approaches and hails at it, beginning to explain that there's a collector shop that needs to be reported for rebel activity. But the drone isn't listening to any of that. It slowly turns to him and stares directly at you, and it raises a weapon to your face. A greyly electronic noise issues and a metallic grill. In the immortal words of a wise cartoon dog, ruh-roh. Hold it. This creature is under my protection. It has committed no crime. If you continue this attempt culling, I will strike back with my katana, and a strongly worded letter to your superiors. The drone seems supremely annoyed that it can't get right down to culling a person. But Tegiri's cast might just be high enough to give it pause. You, the person in question, are incredibly relieved. That relief quickly fades when the drone produces a farmhouse with a blurry picture of you on a screen and a lot of text beneath, most of it flashing red. That's never a good sign. It looks like a rap sheet. Tegiri reads through it quickly, which is pretty impressive feat considering his eyes are still closed, and his expression darkens and further down he gets. Wanted for suspicion of meat production theft, heist of fine art, Accomplice to an assassination of a violet blood? Oof. You didn't realize you'd rack up such a heavy list of crimes. He's already rounded on you with a fury rating of every inch of his being. It's terrifying. You've seen this guy arguing with the retail clerk. You know what he's capable of. All this time, I thought you were souls open to the way of the samurai. I thought I'd met a potential new connoisseur of the animated arts, but no. Your blood pressure pumps only lies through your villainous veins. You were just looking for an alibi, a place to bide your time, to hide from the drones until it was time to indulge once more in your criminal ways. You tried to defend yourself. You didn't do any of those things, and you had perfectly good reason for most of them. Wait, sorry, did it say you did most of them? You didn't do any of those things. Okay, so we just Tegiri isn't buying it. He's clutching his katana held so tight. Veins are bulging from his hand. Silence, coward. It's time to come for my blade to strike true. Ha! He draws his blade in a smooth motion and swipes at you. And you just barely manage to sidestep the attack. You dive backwards, stumbling over yourself in your haste to get away. While he swings his katana wildly, swings his katana wildly around while he's making a lot of weird grunting noises. Once again, his mouth seems to be writing a check his sword can't cash. But you doubt that matters when trolls are stronger and faster than you in general, and is accompanied by a giant Metatron. This time, it's time for you to split, and you'd better do so lickety. Glancing around, you notice that you're about to cross over a bridge with an underpass beneath. Perfect. Just like an action hero, you hop right over the edge of the road, ducking into the underpass. You find a nice hiding spot. You dash towards a traffic barrier, vault nimbly over it, and oh Jesus, this is way higher than you thought it was. You hit the ground harder with a resounding crack. For a moment, your vision goes blank and a wave of pain sears your nerves. A pain disoriented begins to fade. You decide it's about time to take the stock of your situation. A couple of broken bones, old hat. A troll trying to kill you, not unfamiliar. Drones attacking you, same. And the sun about to rise, it scorch you into nothing again. Individually, you've risen to the challenge and just barely handled each of these problems. But all at once, yeah. You think you're just going to call it this one here. Okay, useless. So we did get that wrong. Let's see what happens if we go with subs. It's entertaining how wrong you are. Oh, so Tegiri's with me. He's a dub watcher. But even the greatest Alternians, philosophizers required sparring opponents in the battlefield of intellect. To challenge your assumption with my superior logic and taste will be a fulfilling task. Come on, come in. Not really with the reaction you were hoping for, but you'd say you'd get anything to go into someone's hive, so you take it. Okay. So then what happens if we go back? Oh, we don't want to save. We want to load. Okay. Both are good. Expression immediately sours. A look you're also all too familiar with. If you had a mouse, you'd frantically scrolling wheel upwards to roll back the time to make a new choice. But you live in the real world, where you have to face the consequences of your god-awful anime opinion. Have you no conviction? The Anime Club is a sanctuary for those with strong will and finely owned arguments. It's not a shelter for cowardly people. What debate can come from psychopathism today, such as yourself? How are you going to simulate my intellect? You begin to sputter in protest. You're plenty stimulating. You're a pretty long list of friends who stimulate you in all kinds of ways. platonic ones mostly, but he's not having it, any of it. There are other anime fans in the city. Perhaps their gatherings will be more to your level. Farewell. And now he's. Is this the pathetic meme? Pathetic. Okay, so we're supposed to stop him from attacking people in the store. Defend the shopkeeper. Okay, you know this is a terrible idea, but you've seriously had it up to here with all the, with being party to the murder of random trolls. You quickly interpose yourself between Tegiri and the Cold Blood. Does he really have to kill this guy? For what it seems to be his first offense? You launch into the impassioned spiel about love and friendship and justice, writing the value of forgiveness and a second chance is really hard. And, for good measure, you throw in a little aside note about how Tegiri's favourite shop will close down if he kills this dude. Silence. Tegiri shoves you roughly aside, and you go careening into a display of full body pillows. You watch, stomach vomiting, as Tegiri turns back to the shopkeeper and slowly draws a sword. But then, at the last second, he reconsiders. Consider yourself lucky I'm in a good mood. If I catch you selling contraband again, your life will be mine. Tegiri strides out of the store, holding a fresh copy of the DVD he wanted to exchange. You give the shopkeeper a vaguely apologetic look and rush out the store behind him. Whoa, that was a close one. You thank Tegiri profusely for listening to your dumb little speech about whatever it was you said. Honestly, you already forgot. You're clearly new to this planet. I felt pity for your naivety. But I should have just killed him. Death is legally prescribed. Death is the legally prescribed punishment for such a crime as his. Actually, it's the legally prescribed punishment for most crimes. I should have separated him from his head. But I looked into your pleading eyes and saw. Tegiri saw silence. Saw silence. Tegiri goes quiet. You would describe the silence as being particularly brooding. There's a lot of silence like this on this planet. Then finally he speaks. This isn't my first time. It was over a sweep ago, I believe. I was patrolling a hive batch in search of evildoers when I caught the unmistakable scent of smoke in the air. Upon pursuing the lead, I saw a hive, partially collapsed, partially on fire. My instincts fled and I rushed to help, an innocent soul who was trapped there. But I was helping the girl bandage her wounds. It occurred to me that I had made a grievous error in judgment. Trolls below a certain age, without a lucis or proper hives, are considered unviable and slated to be culled. By rights, I should have put her out of her misery, but moments I realised my mistake. And yet, I looked into her deep grey eyes, dulled by the pain of loss, and I sheathed my blade. In fact, even though she is hireless and listless, I remain in contact with her to this day. Knowing deep down one day I must kill her, the Lord demands it, but I haven't yet. I don't know if I could. Why does my conviction waver at times like these? If he's talking about who you think he's talking about, you're pretty sure he couldn't kill her even if he tried. But that's not the point here. The point is, he's speaking some damn real and true and deep emotion with you. This friendship is basically in the bag. Just gotta drop some sweeping, vague wisdom that makes him feel better and potentially not being unthinkable cog in the alternable murder machine. Alternian murder machine. You offer a light suggestion that maybe what is legal and what is just. Oh no, it's the same thing. Just a little thought. Maybe he's doing the right thing, overlooking her situation because of how obviously messed up it is, and to let her to be a homeless orphan. He goes silent for a long time, chewing his bottom lip. You're naive. Naive, uncultured, and unenlightened. Wow, thanks. You think of the world as simple, like a cartoon for children. But this is Alternia, a land ruled by cold logic, where men such as myself must make the hard decisions. It's not easy, being dedicated to the code of law. It asks much of us and gives us a little in return. But it gives us order, and it keeps the beasts at bay. if I were the question is, what then? Would I begin to wonder if it's unjust for a blue blood to command his servants, for the imperial drones to cull the infirmed, for us to obey the ever-changing whims of the Alternian royalty? It takes a lot of effort to suppress your, well, yeah, but for the sake of this burgeoning friendship, you allow him to continue his monologue. Riots in the street, troll killing troll, even more than the usual, I mean. No, I cannot waver. These hands must remain steady and true. Though I feel a pull towards the scorching fangs of the light, I must continue my path to remain in the tender, righteous embrace of the dark. Truth be my blade, intelligence be my sensei, and justice be my only companion on this lonely road. He goes on like this for quite a while. It all starts to muddle together in your head, and you lose count on how many times he's repeated some screed about justice and truth being smarter than all the other trolls in the room. It honestly sounds like to you he's just lonely. You know a whole lot about loneliness, and the poor management thereof. Oops. Some people throw themselves into their nerdy anime hobbies, and others obsessed with making friends, no matter the cost of their mental or physical well-being. Maybe he just needs a couple of good old pals to remind him that what it's like to have a heart. But if you try and tell him that, he'll probably just respond with another long-winded monologue, likely stolen from an anime he watched recently. Maybe you should just let him vent. You have my thanks for lending your ear. Oh, a compliment brings you out of your reverie. Nothing interrupts a good old introspection machine like the opportunity to chug on that succulent ambrosia. That is any kind of praise or gratitude. It's no big deal, you tell him. You're a great listener. That's what friends are for. He has considered having more friends like you, for example. He opens his mouth like he's about to reiterate a whole lone swordsman thing, but you hastily change the topic. What's with his eyes? Most trolls you've seen had grey irises, but those who didn't follow the typical biological trend displaying their blue cloth. Tegiri pauses, grips tensing on his sword as his fangs dig into his lip. Oh geez, this must be the closely guarded secret. Have you earned enough trust to hear it? They're contact lenses, like for cosplay. Oh, fair enough. Actually, is cosplaying as a different blood caste even legal on this planet? If he's doing it, it probably is, right? You're about to ask when something distracts you. The sight of another troll standing in front of Tegiri's hive, using it as a shelter from the rising sun. They're pacing back and forth with precise movements, glancing at one window and almost like they're plotting to break in. When they hear footsteps approaching, they perk up and whirl around. Wait, you recognize them? Polybus spots you before Tegiri spots her. Her expressions is a hard stoic eye glancing between you two, and she assesses the situation. And then, like throwing on the disguise, her face softens and smiles. Hey Tiggs. I was starting to wonder where you were, if Anime Night was cancelled. Your Lucis is staring at me through the window. I think he thinks it's funny watching me stuck outside, roasting to death, while you're chasing poor beasts around at the hive batch. Classic Tadashi. Why were you late? Just busier than expected with some work. She shoots a sharp glance at you. Assembling some new mecha models. You know how it is. Yeah, of course. It's all too easy to get wrapped up in one's hobby. Anyway, I didn't realise that we'd have a third for once. Not to mention somebody I know. Nani? You and my new kohai have already met? She pauses, her eyes darting back and forth between you two once more. She seems to be assessing the situation, wearing a look like an assassin trying to evade capture. You recognise that look, considering she's literally wearing it last time you met. Yeah, we're kinda Moirails. Cool, I guess we're Morals now. Whoa, that's absolutely not what you thought you were. But you just kind of nod your head and roll with it. It seems like she wants to do, wants you to do. That's why she wants you to do. Oh, Morals. Tegiri's face tightens, almost imperceptibly. But you caught it. Nothing gets past your own friendship-making eyes. Well, actually, a lot of things get past them, but not this particular thing. You're finally tuned into the nuance of social situations. As long as those nuances don't involve making a binary choice on which your social future hinges. Well, as you know, I'm far too busy studying the blade and to pursue quadrants of any sort. A foolish waste of time. Were it not for the laws of this land, I would swear them off entirely. Are you sure it isn't that you just can't get a date? You don't have to play the mischievous loner, you know. There's other clubs you can join instead of insisting on running your own. He huffs, looking away. You hear his Lucis sparking from behind the window, in a tone that sounds like laughter. Fools mock that which they can't understand. And to think I was going to congratulate you on finding love. Once you finished your spiel about romance being dumb, Polyper gives him a light-friendly whap, which he responds with a smile. You can tell that the exchange is friendly, not only because he's smiling, but because he's still standing. Enough banter. The harsh glare of the sun begins to crest, and we have Eastern Alternative animations to indulge in. I'll allow you both to spend the day at my hive, and if needed, there's space. Oh crap, a slumber party? And with more than one participant even? That's gonna be worth extra friend points, so you're so in. Shelter from the broiling death orb in the sky barely even registers to you as an added bonus. Polyper smiles at you for the three of you to enter Tegiri's hive. Tegiri covers up Tegiri covers up all the windows and blocks out the sun, and then starts up a new copy of his DVD, which thankfully seems to meet his standards this time. You settle under the couch, basking in the warm glow of friendship, and prepared to lose yourself in the hours of beautiful, wonderful animes. Hooray! Cannot read it at all. Anyway, with that, thank you for stopping by. Yes, we got the other half of Polyper's backstory, I guess, with that, and more about Tegiri. Is also watching anime. As Tegiri said, dubs is clearly better than subs. Can't blame me if that's what the game said. Anyway, thank you for stopping by for the whole video. Hope to see you on the next one. Goodbye.